This week, we're going to do our predictions for 2025, and they're all going to be correct.
Wrong.
You'll see in 2026, or maybe not. We're probably not going to look back on this. We're also going to talk about satellites buzzing above your head. I mean, if you hear them, that's going to be pretty bad because they're supposed to be in orbit. But, once you're paranoid enough, we will even talk about an OS dedicated to shredding your data. Probably. Maybe if we have time, we might get to that. Welcome to Destination Linux, where we discuss the latest news, hot topics, gaming, mobile, and all things open source and Linux. My name is Michael, and with me are the auditors of the New Year's resolutions, Jill and Ryan.
Happy New Year from Destination Linux, everyone, and may all your penguin financial dreams come true with a career in Linux and open source.
Wow, that was really sweet.
That's a good one. I want that.
As an auditor of New Year's resolutions, I'm like the IRS version. Like, I'm not like Jill's going to be all happy there. Like, even if you complete your New Year's resolution, you follow every rule, I'm still going to find an offense that you made and get rich off of it. So, Happy New Year's, everyone.
Such a positive way to start off the year. We will also be discussing some of the CES stuff, like highlights and stuff like that from this year's 2025 CES, which there is some pretty cool stuff to talk about. So At least there's going to be some positive aspects. Now let's get this show on the road toward Destination Linux.
We're going to go right into our community feedback. And this week, it comes from Chris. And Chris has this to say. I'm an avid... Chris is the first person in 2025 to be on our show. Like the first note, first
special.
email
They
to be
deserve
read
a
on the
plaque.
show. Yeah. Congratulations, Chris. You made it to the first one of 2025. Chris is an avid PC enthusiast, grown tired of OS that shall not be named, Windows. I used to play with Linux.
I thought it shall not be named.
Well, I like to break rules over here, Michael.
Oh, okay.
I'm a rule breaker. In 2025, my New Year's resolution is to break some rules around here.
That's the rebel of DL. We know who it is now.
The rebel of Linux. They're so rebellious. Used to play with Linux many years ago, but found it lacking. About 3 months ago, I decided to give it another look and was completely blown away. I have mainly been enjoying Arch-based distros. Congratulations. You are like in the tier of Linux awesomeness. You're approaching God level there with Arch Linux, which is great. Playing with Manjaro, Catchy OS, and
for those who are listening to the audio only version, I rolled my eyes quite a bit with Ryan talking just then about Arch.
Also played with Pop, Elementary, Zorin, Mint, and a few others. And unfortunately, they did say I definitely like KDE a great deal.
Nice. Nice.
I'm rolling my eyes a lot right now at Michael and his KDE.
For those who are listening to audio only version.
They said I've been video editing on Kden Live. Cannot believe how improved LibreOffice has become over the years, as well as Ocular, OnlyOffice, XNView, GIMP, and of course Steam, Lutris, RetroArch, and so much other stuff that continues to blow me out of my chair. At this point, I know I am all in. I cannot believe I can spin up a new Linux box in a few hours where the previous OS would make me feel ill if I knew it was getting time to reinstall because it was so gummed up and I knew I was going to lose an entire weekend putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. That's a really good one.
I love that Humpty Dumpty back together.
Fantastic. Somebody should make a cartoon of that. Like Windows install, Humpty Dumpty, trying to put them back together again. On Linux installs, no matter how many applications I install, reinstall, it just does not seem to slow down or crash. I mean, that is one of the great reasons to be on Linux for sure. I'm about to rebuild my desktop PC circa 2012 that recently went to PC heaven. And I like Chris. Chris has got a great way of writing that makes you visualize what he's writing.
I'm picturing it. Exactly.
Beautiful.
I've primarily been using laptops for my Linux life. All have had extra drives installed because I have the distro Hopper itch. The desktop PC is going to be built on an Asus ROG Strix X870E that can hold 5 M2 NVMe drives, perfect for a Hopper, as well as more SATA drives. Playing on 5 2TB drives should keep me busy for a while. Yeah, I think you have plenty of space. Michael actually needs that much space, and instead he runs like a 128 gigabyte drive that's constantly full, and and he doesn't update.
I would like for you to be informed that this is no longer correct. Ryan was 100% correct about 2 years ago, where I would be every episode like, "Hey, I only got 20 gigs left. Hold on, let me clean some stuff up." And actually, a couple times it was under a gig. That has happened before.
Hey, Jill, just recently,
But-
did we not have an episode where Michael ran out of space and he had to delete
Yeah,
stuff?
and partway through the episode, he had to delete files
partway
while we were
through the
recording.
episode. Do you want to maybe make it a New Year's resolution this year, Michael, to be better? You know,
No, because that happened one time in the entire year. That is noteworthy. The
how
fact
many
that
times did it happen to Jill?
that's not
How many
important.
times did it happen to me?
That's not important. There's literally nothing on your computer, Ryan, so it doesn't even make
No,
sense.
there's a Batman wallpaper and a lot
And
of
that's
college
it.
work, and that's it. A lot of college papers, which truthfully don't take up a lot of space.
Exactly.
Text. So,
And I have to have all the source files for editing of the episodes and stuff like that. So it takes up space. But
All right.
I would like more space. I could always
listen, you're interrupting Chris's storytelling time.
I mean, you've
Not
interrupted
Michael's
yourself,
storytelling time.
technically.
Chris says, planning on an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X and a 7900 XT GPU. Just wondering if AMD is still the way to go versus Team Green for Linux compatibility, better experience, whereas NVIDIA caught up. You may have covered this on your show, but I just started listening to you about 3 months ago. Man, I'm glad to have you on board, Chris. I could tell you're perfect for this show. Started from the beginning, and I'm only up to shows from the year 2020. I like that they started from the beginning, too.
I know. I was really
Worked their way
impressed
up.
by that, too.
Does this mean Chris won't hear this till 2027, though?
It is quite possible.
It
We got a
possible.
lot of episodes.
I
don't want to jump
I think the
ahead.
show started in 2018, I think. 2017, maybe. I don't remember.
I hope you hear this, Chris. Really appreciate the history I'm learning by listening to the old shows. Thank you so much for all you do. I'm incredibly looking forward to contributing to this community. We're looking forward to having you in the community, Chris. Here's my take on your question. It's an interesting time in the computer landscape. I can't think of another time that it's been quite this strange. NVIDIA still is not playing really well with Linux, but they're doing better. Okay, they're better than they were in the past by long shot.
Oh, yeah.
When you get into situations where you need to utilize your video card for things like video rendering and stuff like that, is where NVIDIA really shines with their drivers, and AMD tends to put you a little bit behind in that space, because for whatever reason, a lot of software is not written with AMD in mind. And what I'm talking about specifically is things that are like DaVinci Resolve would be one of the prime cases for that. Even with OBS, when you're even though there are some options, it's always been flaky with AMD, where you can kind of put the processing onto the GPU itself versus on your CPU.
Yeah, the difference is that the APIs are not made by AMD that I think for like the OBS stuff. And CUDA stuff is like NVENC, for example, I think is made by NVIDIA, and that makes it easier for OBS. And then that's pretty much the differences. The DaVinci Resolve thing is it's notable for us because we like DaVinci Resolve, and there are some downsides of having AMD. That's also not necessarily true just for Linux. Having AMD on Windows with DaVinci Resolve is slightly less
still
good.
painful. Still painful.
Yeah,
It's
but
still not good.
it is coming a long way. In fact, Blender just has new drivers for AMD GPUs, and it's working much better than it used to.
Nice.
That was another one I was going to bring. I'm glad you brought that up, Jill. Was Blender. So if none of those things bother you, and for 99.9% of the population they wouldn't, AMD is still the best because you don't have to go install any extra drivers. It's going to work out of the box no matter what distro you use. I think it's the pricing for performance is way better on AMD's side because you're going super high end here. However, we are going to talk here about CES and some new stuff NVIDIA is dropping. And then you've got what Intel's been doing recently, which I think is really interesting. Now, you're in the high end market, what you're looking at here. So Intel's probably off the board for the moment. But I think you've got a perfect machine picked out here. So unless DaVinci Resolve specifically is on your I have to have it list, then I would say you've got a perfect build for a computer here.
Yeah, you can still do DaVinci Resolve in Linux on AMD. It's just not going to have all of the best parts of it. Like not 100% of it will work well just it'll be good. It'll be overall good performant. It just won't be as fast rendering as you would with like the CUDA core stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wonderful. Actually, the AMD Ryzen 9 7900X is a great pick. I actually have a 7700X3D that I picked up in August with a new motherboard and RAM from Micro Center because they do those bundles. And that's what's in my rig right now.
Nice.
Very nice. There you go. And I'm running AMD, and I think Michael's running AMD.
I'm running AMD something, and then another something.
Yeah, I have
They're both AMDs.
I'm still on 7 5800X, so I'm way behind there. But I have the RX 6900 XT.
I have whatever the Hellhound that you gave me was. What is that?
Don't even remember. It's been so long.
Idea.
I have no.
It has that name, which is cool, and that's about all I can tell you.
And the box was dope. I remember that too.
It was a cool box too.
Yeah, you got a 6900 XT probably coming your way soon. We'll probably do that trade again, and I'll upgrade it. So Michael.
Michael needs that. I'm still rocking my RX 6950, but in this machine I have my Intel Arc A770, and it's.
Is Jill throwing her money in our face right now?
I think she is.
No.
No, she's not doing that. She's throwing her collection in our face, though, for sure.
Yeah, she's throwing her collection in our face. All right. Well, I'm teasing, Jill. Chris, thank you so much for your feedback. I hope you actually hear this episode. And if anybody knows who Chris is, like ping him and be like, hey, catch the latest episode because we talk about your email here. But if you want to get your email, your thoughts, your comments on the show, go to destinationlinux.net/comments or destinationlinux.net/forum. And submit them there. We may pick it, and you may get it on the show, which is awesome because you get to be part of the show.
You're the first part of the show.
Yeah,
and you get to help and create the content for part of the show just by sending us some feedback. And so we thank you for that, and we also thank Sandfly Security for sponsoring this episode of Destination Linux. Now, you chose Linux for its stability and security, but as threats grow more sophisticated every day, detecting them in time without putting your systems at risk is more critical than ever. Traditional endpoint agents can cause downtime and performance issues, leaving visibility gaps. And there must be a better way, Ryan.
There has to be a better way. And you know what? Sandfly is that better way, Michael. I need people to understand Sandfly. They need to remember Sandfly because they need to go home. They need to go home and they need to type Sandfly in and go check out what we're talking about here.
Well, they need to type in destinationlinux.net/Sandfly. That takes them directly to all the details they need for Sandfly Security, the agentless security platform for Linux. Sandfly not only does endpoint detection and response, but also performs SSH key tracking, password auditing, and drift detection to find the widest range of threats. Whether your servers are in the cloud, on premises, or even embedded devices, Sandfly protects them all without the need for risky agent installations. Ken Kleiner, the senior security engineer at the University of Massachusetts, explains it best. He says, Sandfly is the first product I've seen that accurately and quickly detects thousands of signs of compromise on the Linux platform. Its unique method automates tasks that would be impossible to perform manually. Get fast, non-invasive protection for your critical systems. No agents, no downtime, just smarter security that works with Sandfly. Visit destinationlinux.net/Sandfly to get all this stuff, including drift detection, which is going to be great for the Tokyo Drift people. And Fast and Furious, they would definitely need that. So go to visit destinationlinux.net/Sandfly to learn more.
You know, we need to get Sandfly in people's heads, Michael. So can we do something like Sandfly apply directly to your forehead? Sandfly apply directly to your forehead. Something to get it in their minds that we need them to go to destinationlinux.net/Sandfly because
Sandfly apply directly to your keyboard. Sandfly apply directly to your keyboard.
Apply directly to your Linux box. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, do you know what drift detection is? Drift detection is something really, really cool that they're doing here.
I already told you. It's from Fast and the Furious. It's where you drift around a corner.
Oh, my God.
And it's detecting that.
Drift detection is very, very advanced technology to kind of look for unexpected or unauthorized changes in a system, which back in the day, this is true, I wanted to write a book on hacking, but it was going to be like a fictional book, right? And one of the concepts that I was trying to get with is what would be a perfect system to be anti-hacking, right? And one is detecting anomalies of the users. Like if you're going in there and you typically do XYZ, and then this day in there you're going ABC and it makes no sense because you've never downloaded 18 terabytes of data ever, then a system goes in and detects that and says, hey, something's wrong here, type of thing. I'm not saying that's exactly how Sandfly is doing it, but drift detection is really cool concept. So when I was reading up on how they're doing drift detection, I was like, that's pretty dope. That's pretty awesome. Something that looking at unauthorized or different changes going on in the system. All right, Michael, we're going to talk about predictions for 2025. Now, you mentioned it earlier in the show.
I predict this segment's going to be great.
And it might be long.
You rolled your eyes when you said that. And so I feel like you were being a little bit
never. I would never
there.
I would never be sarcastic on our predictions.
This is a tradition we've done since the beginning of the show. We have 402 episodes now. So this is a lot of tradition.
This is a tradition that we have done since the beginning of the show and have skipped at least 1 year because we forgot.
Shut up, Michael.
I remember forgetting.
I remember that.
Doing it. I think it was like 2022, maybe.
Yeah.
I like we're on that show Liar Liar with Jim Carrey that he can't not tell the truth and you just keep ruining my
the thing is because it's funny. That's why I had to tell people it's funny. But also for those who are curious about what happened on our predictions of 2024, we don't do that. You can go and see if we were right about stuff. We don't even remember what we said.
Please do, by the way. Please let us know. If someone wants to write us and go back and listen to that episode, it probably happened sometime in January. So that's your clue. And
probably happened in January.
and could have been in December. Who knows? You know, I mean, I write these shows. Holidays
so
are always right around the corner.
December or January, you're pretty golden. You could find it somewhere around there. We also probably put 2024 or the word predictions in the title of it. We could easily go look ourselves.
But who knows?
Yeah.
But we
Let
don't
us know who was closest right now. But I did keep track utilizing some AI technology. I asked it to go back and tell us, for instance, Jill, you were 100% accurate, I found, in the AI predictions. And that is because, according to the AI, I would never say this, everything you chose for 2024, there was zero chance for it to be wrong. Jill picks predictions of things that are literally happening right now. Yeah. Jill will be like, I predict there will be drones flying around New York City for 2020. But Jill, it's already happened. Of course you're going to be right, Jill. So we'll see if that is the same case this year. And of course, I was at 100% on mine. But Michael, on the other hand, we classify Michael as Michael's the Jim Cramer of predictions of Linux. Like, do you know who Jim Cramer is, Michael?
Yes. Unfortunately, yes, I do.
Yeah. So
he's
Michael
the guy on CNN who likes to scream about money.
Whatever he says a stock is going to go do good and he likes it, the stock drops and falls off.
Yes.
And that's Michael with predictions. He's always 100% opposite of whatever Michael says is what will happen. So
that is not, I'm pretty confident that at least one of my predictions last year came true.
It did. And I'm going to touch on that as well.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh, I don't even remember what it was. So good.
You know what? I think I'm more like the AI of predictions. Like I hallucinate a little bit, and therefore you can't trust anything I'm about to tell you. So, with all of that said, that's exciting. I've just really set this up fantastically. Let's get into our predictions for 2025. People are on the edge of their seat with that.
Without further ado, people, we did a lot of ado already, so no more.
So
Ryan, what's your first prediction?
I was about to say it until you interrupted me to introduce it. So,
my bad. I guess more ado, apparently.
Much ado
Who
about
came up
nothing.
with ado anyways? What does that mean, ado?
I don't know. I have no idea.
My first prediction is no one else you're going to listen to in the podcast world is going to say ado. We're the only podcast that will say that this year.
Nailed it.
100%. So I think the battle for desktop dominance is over. It's done. Nobody is going to care this year about what's going on with the latest Windows. And I think even what you're going to hear about the standard, when I say standard kind of reviews on Linux desktops, is going to start going mute. Everything is going to be about AI this year, and AI integrations and where you can utilize AI and utilize it. The reason is it's not like the 3D TV world or even the virtual reality world, which, a lot of people got on to us when we were like on Hardware Addict saying, hey, I'm not sure, even though there's billions being invested in this, that virtual reality glasses are going to go anywhere. People got mad at us about this and were sending us all kinds of stuff about how VR is going to, but it still never really took off. But AI, they're spending billions on it. Everybody is, and it is taking off, right? It's really being used.
VR was more like a maybe. AI is a definite.
It's definite. 100%. So you're going to see this crap on everything. Your laptop, your tablet, you're going to have probably something on your wrist that's AI. Your contacts will probably have AI. Your shoes are going to have AI in it. Your shoelaces will probably have AI in it. Your fingernails.
All of that, except for parts that are actually part of your body. I don't think that's going to.
Yeah, they're going to put it everywhere, man. They're going to stick AI in your Q-tips that you use to clean out your ears. Your toothbrush will be AI. Like everything's just, shovels. They're all AI.
Shovels.
Everything's good.
I think AI is going to be a very dominant topic that we're going to be covering much ado about AI later this year for sure. But I do think that there's going to be a little bit of an exaggeration with what Ryan is. I don't think it's going to go that far. Shoelaces, sure, that's a given. But fingernails, I mean.
Shoelaces, sure, that's a given. All right, so that's my prediction, and I know it's a little bit of a safe one, but what I'm saying that's not safe in there, because everyone's like, sure, AI is going to take off, is that you're not going to hear a lot of conversation about the OS versions and stuff. Everything's going to be about what can it do with AI. So I don't care about what the Android release is, what the new Apple release is. It's just going to be what can the AI do differently than the other devices. That's what I'm saying is going to happen. All right, Michael, what's your prediction?
My first prediction is about desktop Linux, or specifically the Cosmic Desktop is going to be sort of released. Not exactly.
Does it have
AI? At some point it will.
Nobody cares then if it doesn't have AI.
I highly disagree with that.
I had to match it with my prediction,
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I think that the Cosmic Desktop is going to get to a relatively stable release. I don't think it's going to get to like maybe a 1.0. It might. But I feel like by the end of the year, we're at least going to have a release candidate. We'll be done with the alphas and betas by the end of the year is what I'm saying.
It's come so far. There was just release notes showing off some of the cool things that they've put into Cosmic. And if you're not keeping up with that, System 76, go check out their website. Go check out what they're doing with Cosmic. It's incredible. I'm super excited about that this year. All right, Jill, what is your prediction for 2025?
Okay, SteamOS is going to be ready soon for all devices, and a new Steam machine is going to be released.
Okay, so when you say Steam machine, you're not talking about a Steam Deck.
No.
You mean the old computer, mini computer that you would plug in and be able to run your
TV
game.
or
yeah. That's interesting.
I really think I just have this feeling from listening to a lot of the devs from Valve, and it seems like they're hinting at it a bit. But because they've already made it SteamOS 3 compatible with the Lenovo Legion Go S, which is on display at CES.
Yeah, they've announced that it's going to have SteamOS capability, which is very cool. And I think that you are right to most of what you said. I think there will be more devices. I think there might even be Steam machines in the sense of like consoles that are Steam Deck related type of thing, where SteamOS as a gaming solution. I think the Steam machine is not necessarily guaranteed, but it's a possible. I don't think that the general usage version of it is going to come out this year. And I'm actually going to make a crazy prediction that if it does come out, it will be maybe next year at the earliest. But I'm leaning more towards it's not what is out now. SteamOS for like the handhelds and the gaming stuff will not come out as a desktop thing at all.
Interesting.
I think that it might come out as a separate
has to
version.
Release some new hardware to remain relevant. Now, why I say that is because they've been attacked at every corner from the handheld devices. and they've survived that. They absolutely have the top handheld. But and that includes the things like ROG and others who've released, Lenovo's released theirs and stuff they're pretty nice machines, but they run Windows and it's kind of clunky. And I think most people want a Steam Deck still on their Christmas list and things. So, but like even at CES 2025, we're not going to cover this particular one, but there was I think it's ROG doing a gigantic screened one. It's like 11-inch screen
Oh,
for the
yeah,
gaming
yeah.
device and
I
things.
saw
It looks really
that,
cool. And if
No,
you've
thank
ever
you.
played with these, like I think the bigger the screen, it's going to be like the phone wars. It's going to go big screen, bigger screen.
yeah.
There is a
going to be
sweet spot when it comes to handhelds. I think the Steam Deck is the biggest you can possibly get it, because after a certain amount of time playing on a Steam Deck, I'm annoyed by how heavy it is. The bigger the screen, the more heavy it will be. And I don't want that at all.
Not if they make it out of oyster shells.
We'll get to that in a bit.
We'll get to
That's
that.
in the CES
All right.
section. But
My next-
but I
Well-
just real quick though, I do think that the SteamOS thing, like what I'm saying is that I don't think that what is the current state of SteamOS is going to be made into
On
a
the
desktop
new
version.
machine.
I think
Okay.
it'll be in machines. I just don't think it's going to be
Yeah.
made for general purpose like PC style stuff, because then that introduces a lot of support and headache and stuff like that they have not seemed to be interested in doing. And the whole Steam Deck is completely isolated to a certain set of hardware. They've now made it SteamOS compatible with more hardware, but they're still on the sense of like talking to manufacturers and making sure they know exactly what the hardware is and that sort of stuff. When you go into the general PC thing, you're having to support tons of different hardware. Like you're starting to have support printers and all this other stuff that is not necessarily valuable to a
Linux
gaming
does
platform.
all that for you, you know?
Although I think SteamOS is going to be compatible with NVIDIA GPUs and Intel Arc this year.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I think
another
that's
prediction.
possible. Yeah.
Jill, was it your turn? That was a sneaky prediction. Jill snuck that one in there. Jill's giving you all extra predictions.
I like
Extra
it. I like it.
helpings. Extra helpings, as they say in the South. All right. My second prediction is tech related again, that I believe Intel will start making a comeback this year. I know it doesn't seem possible, but they got rid of their terrible CEO. So that was a huge win, which I've been calling for since we were doing Hardware Addicts podcast. The new Intel Battlemage Arc B cards are super impressive. I was so happy that they came out targeting a sub $300 video card, which I think is desperately needed in this market because people don't have $1,900 to spend on a video card. Some people do. I don't. I'm happy for the people that do, but a lot of us don't have that kind of money to throw at a video card. So, like, this is awesome. This allows other people to get into PC gaming, because PC gaming, we talked about in the last episode, kind of dying. Like, it's going through this revolution. It's not dying, but it's going through this time where it's going to need a major shift. Like, indie developers are creating way more exciting things than the big studios right now, as an example of what I'm talking about. So I think that having an ability to build a computer with a decent video card that allow you to do some 1440p gaming on sub $300 is very much needed, because right now you can build a whole machine. Like, my son wanted a computer for Christmas at one point, and when I was pricing it out, it was fine until I got and added the video card, because any variation of video card adds a minimum of $700 plus that can game the games he wants to play onto the ticket. And now it's like a $2,000 Christmas present. And it's like, no, I can't do that. So this allows you to do something, build a machine, be able to game with that on a very reasonable price at $300. Intel did a really smart move tackling that. And I think their Battlemage line is only getting better. So I think Intel is ripe for a turnaround. Their CPUs need a complete overhaul. They're lacking in AI innovation space, but I think that there is ripe opportunity with a new CEO taking the place. The fact that they're going to have the fabrication plant that I don't think the government can let fail, for them to do something very exciting, because Intel has some of the greatest engineers in the world working for them. I think they can do something here under the right leadership. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, I hope you're right. That would be fantastic. And I think that there's a lot of potential for what Intel is doing. And also, finally, we're at a point where these companies are making models of things that are actually cool names. like Battle Mage and Arc.
Yes.
These are good names. It's not
They
like 24i6706QXT.
Agreed.
And Ryan,
Agreed.
I actually put down that as one of my predictions too, that Intel is coming up in the world and on the rise again. And you nailed it with the Arc B580 when talking about that, because now you can actually build a $500 gaming rig, because you can get Arc B580 for $250, and then the B570 is going to be $220 or under. So finally, you can build that $500 machine again. It's been a long time.
And Intel's been so good to open source. Like, I want them to do well.
Oh, yeah.
Like for a while, they were kind of like arrogant. And back when I was saying AMD was going to take everything, remember how much people gave me crap for that? And
there was a lot of that. Yeah.
And I was right. I told y'all. But I think that Intel has learned their lesson about arrogance. And I think with the CEO being gone, we can have a new era of leadership that comes in there.
I think it took them way too long to learn their lesson, but finally they have.
They finally have. And I actually predict that they're going to release a 24 gig Battle Mage GPU for AI development and professional workloads this year. I've just been hearing rumblings about it, and I think it's going to happen. I really do. And that would really, finally launch them into the GPU space on the professional level.
Yep.
And I've been so, again, like I said earlier in the show, I've been so impressed with the improvements in speed and performance with every Mesa update and Linux kernel update for my RX, for my Intel Arc A770. So I'm using it right now, and it's working beautifully.
That's awesome. I love that we have someone on the show with that card that can speak to its compatibility with Linux. Really, I think that's awesome. All right, Michael, what's your second prediction?
My second prediction is that the end of Windows 10 is going to be massively beneficial for Linux. And this one is actually, this is the more stronger claim. That I think that's clear, that's already kind of happening now. The stronger claim here is, and Linux will finally be ready for the opportunity and take advantage of it.
No, yay, exactly. Good one, Michael.
Well, there was rumors out there that Microsoft was going to lower its system requirements for Windows 11 because people were saying...
Because people are incredibly annoyed and mad at Microsoft. So finally, Microsoft decided to pull back those things and then be like, hey, we're not going to...
It's just a rumor.
It's exactly what they always do. Now, even if they do come out and say, hey, we're not going to have these rules, then people are like, okay, it's going to be great. And then 3 months pass, and then they put those rules back in. As a reminder, recall is a thing. They pulled back their doing recall, and then all of a sudden, hey, guess what? Everything we already said is going to happen is still going to happen. Nothing changed. That's the Microsoft way.
Yeah.
I agree, man. It's going to be good for Linux for sure. I've never seen more excitement, I think, for Linux out there.
I think that Wayland is actually much closer than we think it is, but I do think that that's the Wayland X combination is the only iffy thing. I think everything else, like all the software,
so good.
Pipewire is great. Like there's so much good stuff. Like System D is actually pretty good. I know people are going to be like, how dare you?
Send your hate mail to comments at destinationlinux.net.
And also there's also the other stuff that there's the tons of great benefits to the audio server stuff. The gaming is improved thanks to Valve, and all these benefits that we have now that weren't there, during the Windows 8 fiasco. We have like such a huge advancement at this point. I feel like there actually is a chance that we are going to be ready.
Talked about earlier. He had tried Linux in the past, was like, no, negative. And now he's trying it and is like, holy, this is incredible. Like you could see the excitement in discovering things. I miss that. That first time you discovered Linux is awesome. Like that's a great feeling.
It is a great feeling. It's been so long, I don't remember that feeling, but I imagine it's great.
I was just happy to get it working on a CRT back in 1992. Yeah. So.
I'm glad I did not join Linux bandwagon back then. I'm going to tell you all. I hear the stories. I'm pretty happy I joined when I did. I hit it right at the right moment.
You are correct for not having used it back then. Even most of the people who used it back then, as both Jill and I, not in 92, but I still used it in the 90s,
Yes.
very late 90s. And it was as an adventure. That's a nice way of saying disaster, isn't it? Yeah.
Problematic.
That was part of the
Yeah.
club. It was painful, and if you could pass it, you earned your badge of being a
There
Linux
was
user,
that
you know?
aspect. There was that, and there's
Yeah.
people who still kind of like lean onto that, saying, "Hey, this is like you. If you're a
Linux should
Linux
be
user,
difficult.
you know,
Yeah.
it should be." I've seen people have said it should be. Yeah, no, it should not. Nothing should be difficult. You should be easy to use. It should be, you know.
But I
you
get
should
their
want
point.
more
Once it
people-
opens up and becomes super popular, people come in and ruin things when it becomes popular. You know,
That's the beauty
too
of
much
Linux
money
is that
and
it's
too
very
much-
hard to corrupt a system that is designed to allow you to do whatever you want. Like, yes, of course, if Microsoft wanted to do it, they could definitely corrupt their own stuff, but you don't have to use Microsoft kind of thing, or pick another company that's also going to do terrible stuff. Like you can, there's ways around it, and for the most part, as long as there's more than one option, you're pretty good.
All right. My third prediction is that we will see new hacks and exploits of which have never even been contemplated in history of computing this year.
Hi,
And
Mr. Bummer.
Aw.
with the use of quantum computing, AI, and
You're right,
the
though.
government leaders, all of them acting like 5-year-olds in a 5x5 sandbox with one shovel, I think we're going to have actors utilizing the most sophisticated industry hacks in the world. I'm talking like Israel level centrifuge explosion stuff, and propaganda that looks so real, like fact checkers won't even be able to determine whether it was something that actually happened or didn't. This is actually already getting a lot of people. There was this situation, I may have talked about it on the show, but I was on YouTube and it was Elon Musk live streaming. And I thought, that's interesting. Now, this is a while ago. This is before all of the he got involved with all the politics. I think it's even before he bought Twitter. But he was live streaming. I clicked on it. I'm watching it, and he's selling Bitcoin. He's talking about this Bitcoin, and he's saying, send me your I think it was like Ethereum or something. If you send me 1 Ethereum, I'm going to send you 5 Bitcoin back. And I'm like, well, that sounds too good to be true. Because he's like, I'm going to make cryptocurrency huge and all of this stuff. And there were so many people in the chat, probably a lot of them fake, but all like, oh, I got mine, all of this stuff going on. And I realized the whole thing was a scam pretty easily, but there were a lot of people who didn't. They were using an AI version of Elon Musk. But it was so realistic, Michael. I'm telling you, they had the lip movements down, the head. It looked like he was live. You know how sometimes you see AI and you're like, yeah, I know that's AI. Yeah. I couldn't tell. That's what didn't throw me. What threw me was there's no way he's giving away that many Bitcoin for this thing. The whole thing just doesn't add up.
And also, why would he be giving it away, but also requiring you to send other things to do it?
Send stuff to him to give it away. Yeah, like that was what
definitely
told me it was a scam. But if I was just looking at the screen, I would be like, that's him live streaming and he's really doing this, right? And so what I'm getting at is the most trusted celebrities, not saying he's a trusted one, but I'm saying your most trusted celebrities or vocal points. Heck, even Michael may be AI reproduced out there telling you to send him some Bitcoin and it's fake. How will you know? How will you know? You got to ask him questions.
I can tell
like,
you up front, I will
thumb?
not be doing that. So if you see me saying that, it's not me.
It's definitely not
So
him.
Ryan, he can't be because the AI that you made of Michael only fits on a floppy disk.
That's right. Well, I got his whole brain.
Jill.
By the way, that's a real project, people. If you go on my GitHub for DOS Geek, you will see Michael AI there. It is some of the most advanced code ever written. Please contribute to it. My point is, though, your privacy is going to be exploited in ways you can't even imagine, ways I can't even imagine. And people are not prepared for the level of sophistication that AI and quantum computing is going to bring into the world. We're going to talk about that some more, I think, but in a later episode, because I want to get deeper into it. But, you have to start thinking with some of the stuff we're going to talk about that even come out in CES, that these computers now that are being released are so powerful that is encryption even going to matter at a certain point?
We're getting to a point that, like, the fact that quantum computing is at a point where it might be like products and stuff that's coming out in the not that far away future. And we were talking about how quantum computing was going to destroy encryption algorithms back like 15, 20 years ago. Like it was just when this happens, it's not even like necessarily guaranteed, but every expert on the topic was like basically saying if it doesn't break it, it would be shocking. So
Right.
I feel like there's a very high likelihood that this is going to break stuff, and hopefully there will also be encryption algorithms that use quantum as soon as possible, as fast as those break, in order, because we have to kind of start from scratch at that point. So that could be.
We have lived in a
deal.
world in Linux where we have not had to utilize antiviruses and threat detection tools and stuff like that for personal computing. Businesses should always have that, but on personal computers. But things like Sandfly that we have as a sponsor, that legitimately we may start needing products like that for our personal computers, like to put on them. We definitely need it for your servers if you have any, but we may need stuff like that for our personal computers to do like drift detection and other things like that to figure out these type of hacks and manipulations.
And now you get Sandfly for free for up to 20 instances. So there's that.
There's that too. Oh, look at that.
Well, the other good thing about quantum computing, though,
relevant,
is going to be what IBM Watson originally years ago brought to the world, is finding cures for diseases, the healthcare industry. That for me, that's one of the things I'm so excited about with quantum computing.
Jill, quit being positive.
Yeah,
please.
Ryan, let me explain what's going on here. When we both come with negative comments, Jill comes with positive, and then we are now disappointed in ourselves for not having thought of those benefits.
We're like, Jill's like, it's going to cure cancer, it's going to do this, and we're all like, it's going to kill you, it's going to be Terminator,
it's going to destroy every. Okay, you're right. So we now change our position to Jill's.
Yes, that's my prediction now. All right, Jill, what is your third prediction?
Okay, mine is actually one that Michael had done last year. The Linux desktop will gain even more market share than in 2024. And of course that's an easy one.
Oh, she picked the guarantee win.
I wanted to pick the one that Michael did last year.
Did Michael pick that?
Yes.
Pop out.
And he even went on Linux Unplugged and talked about it.
Yeah. I was so I think on Unplugged, I said 5%, and I think on DL I said 4% to kind of balance. Like I'm going to be right on one of these, and it was right on. It was 4.8, 4.7%, something like that. Yeah. So that's awesome. And we almost got to 5. We were so close to 5%. Yes. I feel like it's guaranteed.
What's it going to be this year, Michael? Give me the number.
More than 5%.
10%.
Wow, you really risked it there, Michael. All right, what's your third prediction?
So, for those who have listened to the latest episode of Linux Unplugged, I'm going to do another one that I pulled from that because it's my prediction, obviously. So I wanted to do it because I just feel like it's such a cool.
You have to keep pulling the same one because it doesn't happen, or what?
No, I just think it's a cool. It's a cool prediction that I wanted to put on DL as well, and that is this year in some form or another. We're going to get KDE Linux.
KDE Linux, like
an official
we already have KDE desktop. Yeah. You're saying, and we have KDE Neon.
No, an OS that is made by KDE for like showing the best possible way of having KDE on a
Isn't
distro.
That KDE Neon?
Oh, no, definitely not. No, Neon is like a playground for enthusiasts.
Okay.
Like it's an adventure.
I thought
to
that's
go
what
on.
they use to test all the best features.
But that's not. No. I'm not talking about testing. I'm talking about like usability, general purpose OS.
Nice desktop.
So but yes, you're right. It's Neon is like a testing bed, whereas I'm saying they're going to make a
stable distro.
Yeah.
But it's going to be KDE. Interesting. All right. Is it going to
might
be
not
based
be called
on
KDE Linux?
But is it going to be based on Ubuntu?
I don't think so.
It'll be based on Arch. That's pretty brilliant. Good job, KDE.
It's possible. Yeah. I think it's going to be based on either Fedora or Arch. Maybe OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. Maybe.
Ooh, that would be exciting. Nobody does an OpenSUSE Tumbleweed spinoff like that. They don't. I mean, I think there's a couple out there, but there's not many. Yeah. All right. So those are our predictions. It is now your job. That's right. We're not going to pay you for it, but it's your job to hold us accountable to our predictions. So 12 months from now, you need to be prepared to fact check us and send us an email and say, hey, Jill was 100% correct. Ryan was 100% correct. And Michael indeed is the Jim Cramer of predictions.
That
And
is not at all what's going to happen. But also, more importantly, it is the reason why Ryan is saying this is because it's up to you to keep track of this. Let us know, because we're not gonna.
Because we're lazy. That's what we're saying at the end of the day, Michael.
That is what we're
lazy.
saying.
We refuse to go back ourselves.
We went
even
back
have
1
show notes
year.
from back then. We could literally just look at our predictions in the show notes. It would probably
But then we'd
take
have to
10 minutes.
we'd have to go into review and see did a distribution do the thing we said? We have to go and
We're
research
open
it.
sourcing this to the community.
There we
Yes.
go.
We're crowdsourcing it. So if you want to be a participant in the prediction solution results, you can let us know.
I bet Chris right now is going, maybe I don't want to be part of this community after all.
No.
Aw.
He's got at least a year or so before he gets to that episode.
Yeah.
All right. Our news story that we're going to cover is CES highlights. I'm very excited about some of these because Michael would not shut up during the predictions part. We are running out of time, so we're going to have to go pretty quick
on me?
through some of these.
You're the one who had three super long predictions.
Oh, man. I did have some pretty long ones. It really is my fault this time. The first thing I want to talk about is NVIDIA's Blackwell RTX 50 series GPUs being launched. The GeForce RTX 5070, 5070 Ti, 5080, and 5090, with the last one being the most powerful card NVIDIA has ever produced. That's like Apple saying, this is their new iPhone. This is the most advanced iPhone ever. Well, of course it is, because it's the latest.
Yeah, it's the newest one, and also it's slightly better than the previous one. So yes, I think that's fair to say. It's the most powerful one they have ever made. It's also one that you can't deny that they're doing that, because it's all they have to do is slightly, maybe 0.5% better, and it's still true.
Now, NVIDIA has come out with a very, very fair price of just $1,999 for the 5090. So for the low price,
such a good deal
of $1,999, you can own
$2,000.
the 5090. Yeah, that is cool how they went $1 below 2,000. That is marketing 101, Michael, right there.
Well, if you get it in the US, you had to add tax to that, so it's going to be 2,200-ish with tax.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the low price.
Now your desktop GPU will be as much as the original NVIDIA Titan for development and workstation.
For developers specifically. Your entire computer will cost less than your GPU. Your entire computer. And I include in that a monitor and a keyboard. Your motherboard,
and
your
a monitor
CPU,
stand,
your power supply, your RAM, everything. Is still going to be cheaper than just your GPU.
Also probably your desk included too. Include the desk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe not the house, but the rest, every component inside the room. Probably.
It's incredible. If you get one of these, please take pictures of it. Let us see some of the work you're doing with Linux. I would love to see somebody take the 5090 and do Linux with it, do some benchmarks in gaming and stuff. That would be awesome.
And also, this is kind of funny because you're basically saying, yes, please throw your money in our face. We would like to see.
Yeah, throw your money in our face and let us see some benchmarks. Post it in our battle stations on Discord.
That would be awesome.
I would love to see it. But I think the star of the lineup is actually their 5070. This is actually very cool. The 5070 is promising performance on par with the GeForce RTX 4090. Now, 4090 was their flagship card, the best of the best. It cost $1,500, I want to say.
Was this last year?
Yeah, last year, 12 to 1,500. And the
that
5070
sketch
is promising performance that's close to that, specifically, Jill, in its ability to do AI rendering and things. DLSS, I believe.
Yeah, the deep learning super sampling.
Yep.
Yeah,
and so that card is
cost
$549.
Wow.
And that is very fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a decent price, especially if it's going to be, the difference between the 4090 and the 570. I don't feel like they had enough time in engineering for a single year to get that much of an involvement. They had to have already planned this. I guess it just doesn't make sense that they were like, oh, well, if we did this one thing and in 6 months we'll have time to do it. That is not typically how manufacturing works. There's usually a lot of ramp up. So to me, it feels kind of weird that the 570, the lowest tier of the 50 series, is somehow comparable to the top tier of the last year.
But you have to keep in mind, in 1 year, NVIDIA went from like a company worth hundreds of billions to worth $3 trillion. So
I suppose they could have just cranked out the R&D like
you start
insanely.
having a lot of money for research and development. You got $3 trillion invested in you.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you might be partially right there as well. But I think when you start getting into the benchmarks of the gaming and stuff like that, Jill, I don't think this card is going to be as fast as a 4090.
No,
what they're
of
saying
course
though
not.
is that it has capabilities in certain areas to match the 4090, which is still extraordinarily impressive. And I feel bad for everybody who bought a 4090
Me too.
out there.
Yeah.
Try to get that sold on eBay real quick. Then, Michael, there's this other exciting thing. Acer got a new environmentally friendly laptop, the Aspire Vero 16. I want you to remember that name because when I tell you about this machine, you're going to want to go out and buy it. So that's the Aspire, Aspire, Vero 16.
Vero 16. Okay, cool. An environmental friendly laptop. Now, how is that so?
It's made from oyster shells.
What?
It really is made from oyster shells, Mike.
Okay, so environmentally friendly, not oyster friendly, apparently. So
9 out of 10 oysters hate this idea, I heard. Yeah.
I would assume they're probably protesting.
It's usually their dead husks that you find on the beach. I actually have hundreds of them myself.
Oh, Jill, are you making an Acer Vero 16?
No, but I have hundreds. I used to even do paintings with oyster shells.
Yeah. Acer does this by cleaning, crushing, and mixing said shells, which are abundant in China with a blend of more than 70% post-consumer recycled plastic. So it's a cute idea. Like, I think it's kind of neat to know that, you've got these, because they're not alive at the point they're doing this. They're just abandoned shells, right, Jill? Like,
yep. And there's thousands of them.
Okay, so it's abandoned shells, so it's just the shells and okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah,
I suppose, but it is like an interesting idea of being able to do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that most people are going to care even in the slightest, but it is an interesting way of doing it because of the fact that we have this huge problem of just landfills filled with stuff that is perfectly fine, but it's arbitrarily glued together and stuff like that. So maybe it wouldn't be as bad if the materials are natural materials.
Yeah,
maybe
organic
they could
materials.
degrade better. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also, in addition to this, they should make it where you can replace the battery. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. Wow. No, let's not go too far, Michael. That would be framework level of engineering. And
I wasn't even saying modularity, just the battery. That's all I'm saying.
Well, earlier when I was talking about painting with them, I just want to specify, I used to make collages with them. We had a house in Mexico on the beach that I grew up at. And I used to make collages with with all different kinds of shells, but the oyster shells were my favorite. And you could also ground them up and I'd use them in my paint. So that was cool.
How is it possible, Ryan, that Jill has a personal story about everything that we have ever covered on the show? Like, even oyster shell laptop, we were like, there's no way Jill's going to have a topic, just a story. She did.
Well, listen, how do you think she earned the nickname the Shucker amongst the oyster community? So, she is known to take out some oysters. So
that is not her nickname, but it might be now.
No.
Can we get her a shirt that says "I'm Team Jill"? I'm Team Shucker. I'm Team Shucker. Oh man, that's good.
Nice.
All right. Samsung and LG decided TVs need more privacy invasive technology because there's just not enough.
Samsung's gotten worse. It's shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
So they slapped in some Copilot to their latest television set. So if you want to ask, remember what I said? Fingernails, shoelaces, everything. It starts with the major stuff, but eventually they're going to run out of ideas and it's going to get into everything. You're going to have it. Q-tips.
In your toothbrush.
This is very sad news. I mean, LG, I'm surprised because they have historically not done ridiculous stuff in their TVs. At least the one I have is fine. I specifically got it because it didn't have any of the nonsense in it. And now they're a part of it too. But Samsung, no one is surprised by Samsung doing horrible stuff with their products. But
just read their privacy policy and then, cringe.
Then you have to go into the corner and cry because if you have a Samsung device. But adding Copilot is just literally, I don't know of anyone who likes Copilot. There are people even talking about how they hate their new keyboard or their new laptop because it comes with a Copilot key. And like, how do I get rid of this stupid key? And like, no one likes this stuff. Like,
Copilot was okay for a while, but it's so far behind. In fact, I think ChatGPT is pretty far behind. Like, now they have like a $999 subscription or some stupid thing. I don't remember what it is to get the latest version of it. But you know what makes those AIs worthless to me is they don't have anything modern in them. So they like stop. I think the latest GPT is 2024. Maybe 2020, early 2024. And so if you
I think it's 2024, that was a week ago, people.
Yeah.
No, but early 2024. So if you ask it about current events, what I'm talking about is it has no clue. It can't do anything. A lot of them won't even give you readouts on website links and other stuff. Copilot is really fallen pretty far behind. And frankly, so is ChatGPT. There are so many Claude and others that I find superior to those that Grok, Claude,
Gemini, I think it's better. Yeah.
Gemini, I'm gonna have to check out Gemini again because I wasn't a fan of it for a while.
Gemini has gotten better when it comes to the the actual chat bot system where you ask it specific questions. However, it's gotten so much worse for the stupid search function where it gives you the answer in the AI version.
Oh, I know.
Always
I
awful.
Know.
It's never right, and
that is annoying.
But anyway, that's a different topic. Let's talk about how Samsung and LG are ruining TVs.
No, they're throwing AI in it. And so that's just part of the prediction. NVIDIA, though, one more time for NVIDIA here, they launched a $3,000 Mac Mini clone. This, however, is an AI supercomputer using an unbenchmarked, so we don't know exactly what it's going to be capable of doing, GB10 chip. But we do know that it's capable of a petaflop of floating point performance. A petaflop.
Petaflop. Yes. Obviously, I know what that is. I actually do know what the term petaflop means, but I don't necessarily know what that means.
What does the term petaflop mean, Michael?
I mean, it's the different the tier. It's like 1,000 teraflops, right? So it's teraflop and petaflop.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. It just, after I said it a couple times, it sounded wrong in my head. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that sounded wrong after a while. But it's the performance level of the floating point and whatever that is.
It's like 10 to the 15th power in performance, of what it's doing here. So this is so impressive, Michael, that you could take a large AI model. So not some little small thing, but an entire inference large AI model of 200 billion different parameters, put it on this computer, and it could seamlessly run it without any problems. Like 200 billion parameters of information and logic and AI means like we're talking the full original ChatGPT level sitting on a desktop computer.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's the predecessor to a quantum computer, a little baby mini one.
Right. And we don't know what fully this thing could do, but we were talking about NVIDIA is going to get into the chip market.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you think about a $1,999 GPU is so expensive, and these GPUs are getting so expensive. But what if the new computers are just the GPU processors? NVIDIA puts a little chip there, a little like ARM, big little architecture.
That would make a lot of sense why it costs an extra $1,000 because it's
exactly. Now you don't need to buy all those other CPU and motherboard because you basically got a single board that does all of the stuff right there on it. And it makes sense that NVIDIA is going to go that direction at some point. I think this is their first step towards it.
I haven't seen this particular device. How close to a Mac Mini size is it?
like almost exactly. a Mac Mini
Exactly.
size.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
In
That's
fact,
crazy to be able to be that
Jensen
powerful.
came out. The CEO of NVIDIA, on the stage presenting it, and he was wearing his typical leather jacket, but it was a sparkly one with like patches, sparkly patches, and it matched the computer. It was like this had a sparkly texture on it, at least in the lighting that he was showing it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay, so I don't know if that's funnier because it's got random patches that sparkle, or
Yeah.
because it's just a CEO wearing a leather jacket. I don't
Yeah.
know which one is funnier, but they're both pretty funny.
You want to know something interesting? You guys know how much I admire and look up to Lisa Su when she took over AMD, right? I was one of the people predicting it was going to mean a massive turnaround for AMD, which came true. Did you know Jensen is Lisa's cousin?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Isn't that
way.
crazy?
Yeah.
Really?
That family line is something else. Let me tell you, they got some good genes.
Yeah.
over there.
That's also the
But-
craziest like family reunion to get together. Like, hey, we can't talk about work, people, because
Right.
we're literally the biggest competitors in this market.
Yeah.
Aw. But all joking aside, I was very impressed, and it was nice. I've been waiting for NVIDIA to make this kind of announcement for a while, because they have talked about it for years, that they're in the CPU game, and they have, they had like their NVIDIA Tegra back in the day and in media devices. But it's really nice to see them now doing really professional little computers.
This is gonna be a game changer for NVIDIA. You're gonna see NVIDIA really change the
Yeah.
PC landscape.
gonna
There's
be
another
great.
prediction. Ubuntu and System 76 were also at CES, and I think that's
cool.
amazing. I don't remember them being in the prior ones. I'm not saying they weren't. I
Oh,
just don't
yeah,
remember
they
them
have.
being there. But they
And-
were really showing off
Yeah.
their booths and stuff this year on social media, and that got me really excited to know Linux is well represented at one of the most popular tech show in the world. So
Yeah.
That's very cool.
In fact, Canonical has made a presence there for many years. Not every year, but even the last time I went to CES, which is like 10 years ago, they were there.
yeah.
So that
Was
was
there
awesome.
anything that caught your attention, Jill?
Oh, yes. So one of my favorite things actually for the Consumer Electronics Show showed up at CES Unveiled on Monday before the official show started. It's one of the press release shows that happens at night. And it's called The Comet by Mecha Systems. And they had a booth there. And the Comet is actually a Linux-powered handheld modular computer built for students, hobbyists, artists, and engineers, not unlike the Raspberry Pi. And it's really cool because it looks like a thick smartphone and has a 1.8 gigahertz ARM64 quad-core processor, 4 gigabytes of memory,
I'm
and 32
intrigued.
gigabytes of storage, which is expandable.
That
And
is very cool.
Yeah, and it has a 3.4-inch capacitive touch IPS LED display.
But it's handheld.
But here's the cool thing. It has a magnetic snap interface where you can swap a gamepad with a soft press D-pad and 4 input buttons,
Cool.
a GPIO panel with access to 40 pins, and a keyboard with ABS keys. And more is coming in the future. And it also supports Raspberry Pi hats and microbus clickboards. And believe it or not, this is the first thing I saw at CES. And I was so happy. Ooh,
Wow.
a Linux computer getting coverage, because Linux is all over that floor. It's it's on almost every device there, but they don't talk about it. So it's really
Wow.
nice.
That's
I
cool.
saw two tech tubers review it, and that was really awesome. I was so happy. And we could always use more, more cool tools and gadgets for our makerspace.
Look,
So,
they have a sign up for their Kickstarter, and I am signing up for it like as we speak.
yes,
That's
I did
want
a few
one.
days ago. Yeah. And it's supposed to only start like $159.
Yeah, it
So-
says 159 starting for the super early bird rewards. That's what you
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
And this is crazy looking, because
Yeah.
when you started talking about this, I thought I heard about what this was, and I thought this was like something I already saw a photo of, and I was like, yeah, it's going to look very, janky
Kinda
and retro
janky.
computer or something like that.
Yeah.
But this thing looks super slick. It's
Yeah.
not. It's kind of like a smartphone shape, but it's
Mhm.
thicker. But in order to have an Ethernet port and some USB-A ports and the dongle or like the modularity aspect where it has like I guess it's the GPIO pins or something at the
Yeah.
bottom that you swap it out. It has like they're showing it looks like a ribbon connector if you wanted
Mhm.
to for some reason. That it's
Oh,
very cool.
To hack.
and it's completely modular, like the framework laptops that we know and love, and it even has a screwdriver inside of it, so you can hack around with it. And
It's
I
just
thought
so awesome.
it was also cool because it has they have their own Debian based OS called Mechanics OX, and the Mechanics Shell desktop environment specifically made for touch surfaces. So it's nice to have a Linux distro specifically for touch surfaces,
Man,
using
this
the free
also
game.
has
So
LTE modem support, so it could be a phone.
exactly. Yeah. I was
Okay.
so
Well,
excited about this when I first saw this. I'm like, oh my
you
god.
know how cool you would be
Wow.
walking around with this device as your phone, though? You would be
Yeah.
so unique. Everyone would be like, what is that? You'd be like, you can't handle it.
You can't handle this.
You
It's
can't
got
handle
Ethernet
it.
jack. You can't.
I'm not even going to
Yeah.
show it to you. 'Cause you're not on my level. You're not on my
And also,
level
I
at all.
assume like the there's the piece that has nothing on it. There's like maybe like a touch screen effect or something, like a touchpad
Yeah.
maybe. Like
All
this
right.
is
And
so
Michael,
interesting.
we are way over. We're way over. We can't talk about this anymore. We are going to have to skip the news on the shredding your data. That'll be next week now because
we'll shred
we've
your
gone
data
over.
next week.
We'll shred your data next week. I think we actually have to skip probably our mobile news as well and just get right into that will be next week about
I
why
think so.
satellites are buzzing over your head.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people with satellites buzzing over your head right now and you're like, dang it, I thought I was going to get the answer on this show. We're sorry. You're going to have to wait.
Unfortunately, Ryan was too long-winded this episode.
Yeah. Man,
but it was
we can't
also,
get-
I mean, it's really CES fault. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's CES.
CES kind of threw us.
And we didn't even get through all the CES stuff we wanted to cover. There's so much more left, and we might
we'll
even
do
cover
another
them
CES
next time.
cover. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Interesting.
great. Yeah.
Jill, for gaming, what did you have set up for us this week in gaming?
Okay, so I wanted to share our Steam replay results from the last year.
Yeah.
Valve. Yeah, Valve has this awesome page that it puts out for all the statistics of you playing each game and how long you played each game and it's really amazing and on what devices you played them on. So this was just it's just really fun, something fun they do every year.
I love that they do that. They love to
they started a few years ago.
make their environment and community fun and engaging. And this is another
Yeah.
example of how they do just that.
Very cool.
My replay is not exciting because obviously I've been in college this year.
Yeah.
Between college, work, podcast company, dealing with Michael's shenanigans, I have no time. So mine's pretty pathetic. It's Borderlands 3, 6 hours. Bugs 0.3 hours. I don't even remember playing that. Like I
that's a
have
cute
zero
game.
recollection of playing that game. I think I may have played it in like an after show because we talked about it or something. I don't know.
Oh,
And then
okay.
Space Marines has got a whole 0.9 hours in there of Space Marines too. So I have really done some major gaming this year,
I think Jill's going to make up for this for sure. But your gaming, I should be offended by the fact that you said my shenanigans are the cause of it. I mean, it might be partially the cause of it, but not majority of the issue. I would say like 5% of the shenanigans is a fact.
Jill, what was your replay this year?
Oh boy. Well, so I've played a lot of Trackmania Stadium too, like 120 hours worth.
Good Lord.
That's quite a bit.
Because I stream it on the other network I podcast on. So.
What?
What?
On another network, Michael?
Has Jill betrayed us?
No.
Man, I feel like those oysters. We just got
rounded up and turned into laptops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I co-host it with Ben Stone over at Linux Gamecast.
That's not how you say his name.
Jill, you're not supposed to talk about that other podcast over there.
I know.
There are competitors. Like we have to destroy them grind them up
We
like
do
oyster
not-
shells.
We do not promote competitors. This is the open source community. We never give any attention to competitors, except for the fact that we already did that for this one. And also, we talked about Linux Unplugged earlier.
Joe,
So I guess we do a little bit sometimes.
It's okay.
Joe, what
once
is
in a while.
the other show you're on for people who want to catch you over there?
It's called Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday, or LWDW. It's a Linux news show.
Fantastic. It's so
And
All right.
I've been on it now 7 years.
traitor. All right, now what's the
Technically,
next?
she joined us after, but whatever.
So the next one for me is one of my favorite first-person puzzlers, the Talus Principle 2 with 40 hours. It's a great game. I've
Nice.
been loving that game.
Yeah.
Nice.
And-
So only 2 games, Jill?
Yeah. No, I've got actually, and this is in normal circumstances, I would be embarrassed, but I'm not because of the nature of why I have over 200 different games I've played in the last year. It's due to reviewing them here on Destination
She's blaming
Linux
us. She's blaming
and trying
us,
out
Michael.
new games.
Technically, she's blaming you because you're the one who picks them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would never have picked the horror games that are in that.
No,
200.
I feel bad for
probably
Jill
wouldn't.
because of the suggestions that Steam is like Valve is completely confused by like the algorithm is like what Jill wants to play. Like
It's
no,
usually like
none of
Mickey
these.
Mouse, Disney games, and then all of a sudden like some horror game about killer clowns or something. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was so funny because my 200 different games, the Steam medium for different an individual playing different games played during a year is only 4. So I think I'm a little above.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's only 4. That's a very low number.
I thought
For
it would be at
majority.
least 10 to 20, but I was
Yeah.
surprised.
For the
so.
majority of gamers, like, it's
Yeah.
like for me, I play so many games. There's
Yeah.
this joke that people have about how some people make a joke about I only play Rocket League.
That's not
Ryan
a
has
joke.
made
That's
that
what you
joke.
play.
Bill's made that joke. There's a lot of people who say this, and when I went to my Steam replay for this particular segment, I busted out laughing because there are 3 games, and I always make the joke if someone's like, "You're gonna play one game," I'm like, no, I play 3 games. I didn't know that I had played 3 games. I was just making a random choice, and I was right. However,
Cool.
I played Descenders. It's like a biking game, like a BMX style thing. And one time, I played Ride 4, which is a MotoGP game. One time, and then a Rocket League for however many hours. I have no idea.
You do
Many
know.
hours.
You do know. You're embarrassed to tell
my
us.
replay didn't even tell me how many hours. It was just like 99% of your stuff is here. So what? Just
said
assume-
loser underneath.
Yeah.
How much time? Loser.
It did not. It didn't even say the hours. What it did say was that 120 sessions, 118 of those sessions are Rocket League.
Oh,
Wow,
cool.
That's crazy.
So-
In fairness, though, I did play a lot more games than I have there on PlayStation and stuff. So, I had that, but that's in the living room. It's more easy for me to pick up and just play a game real quick and put it down. Whereas coming up here and playing a game, I just, that's rough.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
This actually would count the Steam Deck too. And apparently I didn't even play the Steam Deck one time this year. That's last year.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
pathetic, Michael.
That's crazy.
I had like 30% gameplay because I test them on the Steam Deck for the show.
See, Jill does work for the show, Michael. You see how that works? She puts an effort into the
Jill,
show.
thank you for caring about doing the right thing on the show. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
All right. So our software spotlight this week is ProjectLibre. When I started back in college, I got frustrated to find that there were a lot of courses that required proprietary software in order to complete the material. Now, there's a lot of student discounts and things, which helps with covering the cost of this. But in my opinion, anything in the university should be free and open source software, unless there's an industry standard where hey, if you're doing graphic art design, you don't want somebody knowing a tool that nobody uses when they actually go to get a job. So I get that. But outside of those things, when you're talking about Word document creation and stuff like that, why not
Yeah.
utilize open source standards and things for that? Even the Excel, using an open source version for that. So one of the things that I worked with my professors on is to get approval for open source alternatives when I'm in the course. And almost 100% of the time, they're like, sure. And the only time they've said no is in situations where they're like, hey, it has to be because of the standard, the specific format or whatever. Outside of that, they've been very agreeable to it. So I suggest if you're in college, number one, you can just ask your professors, okay, if I submit my assignment utilizing this. A lot of times it just creates a lot of questions to them. And I've even found out some of my professors are fans of the show, which is pretty cool. And so they're like, of course.
That is awesome.
That is so wonderful.
That is awesome. And I also think that it's both great for you and a little scary. Because
it is. Because if I submit something really stupid, well, they're probably like, yeah, of course, he's the stupid one. He's the meathead.
And also, for those of the people who are teaching the courses for Ryan and are listening to the show, if he does submit something stupid, destinationlinux.net/comments. It'd be fantastic.
How dare you? How dare you? That is really funny. And how dare you? That is so funny.
Great.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's great. What did I just do? All right. So
wonderful.
This just recently happened. One of the courses required Microsoft Project was required. You know about Microsoft Project, Michael?
I have never heard of this. I assumed it's like Jira or something, but I've never heard of this.
Yeah. A lot of people probably haven't utilized it. If you're in a project management role, you may have heard of Microsoft Project. Jill, have you heard of Microsoft Project in the past?
Actually, from you.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were looking for alternatives.
Yeah, because I just heard it from him now too.
It's not something you really run across. Like I've been in corporate America for 26 years now, and I don't remember anybody submitting anything with Microsoft Project, but it exists. It's out there, and this course required it. So I asked the professor if I could use an open source, but I had to find something first to ask them. And I found ProjectLibre. And thankfully, my professor agreed I could use it in place of Microsoft Project. It's a free and open source project creator. It's downloaded over 7 million times, all 7 continents and 193 countries. And it features compatibility with Microsoft Project nearly perfectly. You can do your Gantt charts, your network diagrams, your WS, RBS charts, earned value costs, resource histograms, all of that stuff right there with this tool. So highly recommend it.
Cool.
Check out ProjectLibre, and you don't have to spend a ton of money on a license because it's open source, which means it's completely free.
Nice.
But you should probably donate to the project if you can.
Also, if you're going to use it, especially if you're going to use it for college, you should donate.
Yeah, saving a lot of money there. All right, Jill, what's our tip of the week this week?
Okay, so our tip of the week is New Year's resolutions for Linux users.
Interesting. Yeah, that's going to be cool.
So one of my favorites, and I thought of, is try a new Linux distro. If you've been using one distro for years and years, try a new Linux distro and boot it from a flash drive and or put it in a virtual machine. And
so she's enabling distro hoppers. Okay.
Yes, I'm enabling distro hoppers to discover other versions of Linux. And how they've all come so far. It's
I
really
think it's
amazing.
Good because a lot of people just get that one distro that they like and they use it, and it is great to do that. You shouldn't feel like you need to change, but just trying another one just to kind of see what's out there is a good idea.
Yeah,
absolutely. And also try a new desktop environment.
Cosmic,
KDE Plasma,
Window Maker, Rat Poison.
No.
Fluxbox.
Rat poison. Jill, why would they ever try that? Oh my gosh.
Rat poison is what we use for us to punish each other if we don't accomplish something. I don't think
Go give rat poison a try and hate your life while you're at it.
Do you like the mouse? We'll say goodbye when you use rat poison.
You don't get one.
Yeah, I just use the keyboard commands, and I've even done a Destination Linux show live with Rat Poison.
By the way, for those who don't know, Rat Poison is a desktop environment that exists for some reason that the mouse will never work. That's the whole mouse poison, rat poison. It is
100% keyboard
you just get keyboard
driven. And I will say, I think this is a crazy idea. 100% crazy that rat poison exists. I love the fact that it's called rat poison. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
It's a good name. But also, Jill just said that she has done an episode of DL on rat poison.
I remember that.
And I have to ask this question, Jill. I don't think I asked you at the time. Was it a good experience?
It actually was. I made up my own scripts to launch all the apps.
She prepped.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I
prep
had to prep
heavily.
it.
She prepped.
You can't just sit down and do it and watch.
All right. So
yeah.
more and more reasons not
Live
to use
stream.
rat poison. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. What's
You
the
have to prep
next
before you do anything.
Yeah. The other one is to contribute to an open source project.
I like that one.
I like that one.
Yeah. and it
Michael
doesn't-
AI would count, by the
Yeah.
way. Michael
No,
AI.
it
and
wouldn't.
you
I'll do
don't have
that.
to be a developer. You can contribute to, typing out a manual, which all
Very good
the
points.
projects need.
Yeah.
Manual.
Open source contributions, even if you're just
Yeah.
going there to like join the forum or the chat room to help people, that's contributing to
Yeah.
the project. There's so many things. You don't have to be a developer to do it. Obviously, a developer is going to like know that you just provide code. That's what but there are so many other ways to participate in any open source project, from documentation to even graphics or
Marketing.
documentation on accessibility is desperately needed. So we'll work on that.
Another, or even just getting the word out about the
That's
district.
true. That's true.
Or talking
Or
about
open
this
source
show. Get the word out about
project.
Destination Linux. That's a great way.
Exactly. You can open source the marketing for the show. Absolutely.
You are marketing for us. It'd be great. What's the last one, Jill?
And my fourth one is go to a Linux conference to meet other Linux users.
There you go.
And
you have one you recommend, Jill?
Oh,
I don't think she's ever been to a conference ever. So
the Southern California Linux Expo.
Oh, that one. Right. That one. The one that she's gone to every single one of them. Yeah.
Absolutely. But there is a Linux conference in places all around the world. And
they're very fun. And you already got something in common with everybody there, which makes it a really unique experience. Very easy to start conversations and stuff.
Exactly.
When you've already got something in common there with all of them. And Jill, I know a lot of people, some people have already asked and stuff. You're in California. A lot of people are worried about you because of the wildfires and things. So just real quick before we sign off here, update on how you're doing with the wildfire situation.
Oh, thank you, Ryan and Michael, for asking. Yeah, I am safe. I am fine. My house is fine. I was the closest fire to me was just under 10 miles away. So they are close.
That's too close for comfort.
But but I'm kind of protected in a little bubble. A little short story. A long story short is that LA is in a basin surrounded by mountains and foothills. Mm-hmm. And that's unusual. A lot of people don't think of LA, having mountains. No, there's mountains all around. In fact, if I stand outside my my door on my street, I can see snow.
Wow.
You can see snow. So it's right now where I'm only seeing smoke and ash, but I'm safe. I'm okay. My whole family is safe and okay. I have had friends who have lost homes, and that has been horrific. So, but I'm trying to help them as much as possible monetarily, with donations. And it's bad. It is really, really bad. And I'm very fortunate that I'm where I'm at because I'm in a safe place.
Well, we're very, very happy you're safe, Jill.
Yes.
Because by the way, those penguins would go up like kindling there.
It would ignite very quickly. Yes.
Yes.
This is a very important thing. I'm glad we talked about this. Now, good luck to Ryan for segueing back into something where it makes us laugh.
Well, I saw snow too in Texas today.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
For some reason.
So I had fire, you had snow.
In Texas.
2025 is crazy.
Yeah. It's kicking off with a bang there. If you're in California, you've been affected by this, obviously your hearts go out to you. If you have family members and things impacted. I wanted to give you an update on Jill, but I know there's a lot of people impacted by this thing. Let us know in the Discord chat and things if there's anything we can do to help. Hopefully some of the humor in the show and other things help you get through some of your, dealing with that type of situation. So, a big thank you to each and every one of you for supporting us by watching or listening to Destination Linux. However you do it, we love your faces. Come join us on our Discord. Be a part of the community. I mean, that's what we're here for, to be part of. Go to tuxdigital.com/Discord and sign up and get to hang out with a bunch of other geeks like us.
And there's exactly. And also there's lots of cool stuff that you can do by becoming a patron of this show. And one of those things is on the Discord server because there's a patron-only section of our Discord server. So you can go to tuxdigital.com/discord to get into the server, and tuxdigital.com/membership to sign up for the special section of the Discord. And there's also many other things. You get unedited episodes of the show. You get access to watch the show live when we record it. And our merch. Yes, we got tons of merch too. But first of all, we have merch discounts for patrons. So
look at that.
There you go.
I want to be a patron just for that.
Just for that. But we also have the patron-only post show that happens every week after the show. You can hang out with us after the show live when we get over to recording, and so much more. tuxdigital.com/membership to get more. Also, tuxdigital.com/store is where you can get a ton of cool stuff. We have like hats, mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, and so much more. We have the I'm Unhackable shirt that is clearly a Jill thing, not a Ryan and Michael thing, and not what Ryan is picking up. I don't know even what this is.
Chapstick.
We don't have chapstick.
Swag from Scale.
That sticker is possible that it might be, but the rest of
GoPro dongle pad. Do we have that in the store?
Definitely not. No. Oh. And also, for those who are curious what he was dangling earlier, that's the Rocktopus. It's a very weird thing he has on his
octopus with the rock's
head. Yeah, it's a very weird. I think it exists solely for the joke of the pun of the name, and that thing. Very weird. That is not in the store, people. And I know you're disappointed by that, but I'm actually happy that's not in the store. So, but you can go to tuxdigital.com/store to get all the cool stuff that is there.
And make sure to check out all our wonderful stores. And
we have more than one?
We have
more than one. Make sure to check out all our amazing shows here on Tux Digital. We have an entire network of shows to fill your whole week with geeky goodness. Go to tuxdigital.com to keep those Linux penguins marching.
Everybody, have a great and wonderful week. And remember that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
2025, y'all!
It's getting off to a Rocktopus start, but we're gonna get there, people.
Oh, that's a good one, Michael.
Gosh, it's not good. Do not encourage him. Stop it. Don't encourage him.
I think that's the first dad joke I said in the show. So
it's the first joke of 2025.
It is the first one. Yeah, there you go.
Congratulations.
Thanks for watching the show, everybody. We'll see you next week.